Hey everyone, Scott Norris here. Welcome back to part 2 of PKS. So as we can see, it's successfully installed the Pivotal Ops Manager, and it's got the right IP address that we gave it in the first video. And so we browse to that. So as you can see, we can have a number of options here. Now, I'm just going to use internal authentication to start with. So I'll select that. We'll go username. I'll just do admin, password, passphrase, and I'm not using a proxy to get through. And then we set it up. Alright, and that's done. So let's log in with the credentials we just configured. Alright, now you can see we've got our Bosh Director, so let's configure that first and foremost. So let's give it a name, vCenter a name. So in this one I'll just go name. vCenter host. So mine is vCenter clients. We've got username. I'll just use actually have a PKS service account. Password, data center name. So these have to be the same data center name as you would up here. So just copy these out or have them written down beforehand. On provision thin, ephemeral data stores. So I'm just going to use one. Now all these data stores common delimited is the different data stores across your clusters. So if you want to go across clusters, you have to put all your data stores in here. And this is how it deploys, where it deploys the pods and the services. So it will essentially, if you want to do spanned Kubernetes clusters across vSphere clusters, you need to make sure that you have all the data stores that you want to use on the separate data stores, on the separate vCenter clusters that you want within here. So for me, I'm just using the test one that I've got here. The Optane test will do, and I'll use the same one for both. Now I'm going to use NSX networking, and I want nsx-t, and my address, so it's 10.0.0.21. Username, admin, and this is where you put your CA cert. So I have that. That's it. If not, you can always just go to here, view certificate, export it, and that one UMC, if that's the right one, hopefully. Yep, that's it. Alright, and now the folders. So these are actual folders within vSphere. Now I've had these pre-created, so if I go and look at my folders here, there we go. So as you can see, we've got the folders. I've got VCF templates, VCS VMs. If we look over here, VCF VMs, VCF templates, and then VCF disk. So that's for your data stores. So that's actually located under your data store folder here. So these are required, they don't have to be named that at all, you just require the exact names of each one of those to be put in. So I made mine simple, that I just copied the out of the box ones so that I could next most of the stuff. We go next. It should validate some of the settings. Oh. Okay, so there you go, done. So as you said, it validated the cert. It said that my IP wasn't in it. It was a fully qualified domain name, so I set that. So that's all gone through fine. We move on to the next bit, which is our director config. So we give NTP servers. So I just use the a.pool.ntp.org ones. I'll leave that. I want to enable the VM Resurrector plugin, meaning that it will start up VMs. Enable post-deploy scripts. Now, these are the ones you can come in and change afterwards, but these are recreate all VMs. So essentially, whenever you do a change in here, like for instance, if I wanted to come in here and after everything's been deployed and then change my NTP server, it actually rebuilds and redeploys your Bosh and your PKS. So you can do things here. You can go, I want to recreate all my VMs. So it just means it'll, on the next deploy, it'll recreate the VMs instead of just reinstalling over the top of the existing ones. And same with persistence. You know, we could remove the persistent disks and recreate them. So these are things you can do as day 2 steps if you want to, but there's no need to have them selected right now. Go down. I usually use all these blank, especially for, again, for a POC or for your lab environment. I'm using internal database, 5 workers, default is 5. I'll change that to 3 and save. Yep, done. Sweet. Now we go into create availability zones. Now let's add AZ. Now we give it a name. So I'll do AZ 01 just for the sake. We want to choose that main vCenter config there. And we give it a cluster. So these are actually got to be the same name. Space these. So I want my cloud native DC as my cluster. And we give it a resource pool. So I've got PKS as my resource pool, nice and easy. We can then add additional clusters. This is how you can do it cross cluster. I've only got one for this demo purposes, but this is where we add in the AZ across one cluster or many, and we can save that. We can also add in another availability zone if we wanted to as well. I don't have the hardware to do that, but this is where you would add in your multiple AZs and which clusters they span across. Within here, we'll save that one. Done. We create networks. So this is where we add our networks we had up before. So let's add networks. Name. So we go PKS management. vSphere network name. So this is the, if we go to our networks, that's that one that we set up in our previous video. So we choose that, we go there, we put the CDIR, which was 10.60.24.0/24. Reserved ranges. So this is what you don't want Bosh to use. So for me, I did number 11, and I'm going to do from, let's just say 10.60.24.0 all the way through to 10.60.24.20 as an example. DNS, so 10.0.0.240, which is my lab DNS, and a gateway, which would be 10.60.24.1, and then we select the availability zone. So that's where that's going to be deployed. Now we want to save that, and we want to add in the PKS services. So services, vSphere network name, so that's this one. As you can see there, it tells you the format that you can put it in if it's in folders and whatnot. But I don't have that, so we go 10.60.25.0/24, reserved ranges. We'll do the same again, 10.60.25.0 through to 10.60.25.20. DNS 10.0.0.240, gateway 10.60.25.1. And we'll put that in the same availability zone here. But again, they could go into different availability zones. Save that. Okay, there's our two networking services, and they line up to the networks we created in the previous video. And then we assign our AZs. So AZ1, and I want that on management network. We'll save. And then everything else. Now this security, so this is handy if you want Bosh to trust other things. So if you've got your own Harbor instance, for an example, this is where you'd put that Harbor cert. So if it wasn't deployed by Bosh, you'd put that in here, and this is where it would trust it essentially. So then you can then use it as part of your container deployments and whatnot. DNS config, I won't sys. If you want to use syslog, I'm not going to set that up here, but that's pretty straightforward. And resource config, so this is pretty much saying how big is going to create the Bosh director. Now that is pretty much it. I just want to double check that I actually have that username, just to be sure. Just bear with me. PKS. Service underscore PKS. Yep. Alright, cool. Just want to make sure that was correct, just in case. Alright. So, if we go back to our dashboard now, we can then deploy that. So we can go preview pending changes. We got that there, we apply changes. Now I could have added the PKS in this instance, but I want to make sure that Bosh Director deploys properly with no hiccups. So we'll apply those changes, and that's actually going to go, and we can watch this, and it'll actually go and deploy VMs or your Bosh Director into vCenter. So we'll just wait till that's finished. Alright, so that was installed successfully, which is great. So we'll return to the dashboard. Now, what we want to do, we can validate that we've got, while they're not named the greatest, we can actually see that this is the 21, so we reserved from 0 to 20, so it's taken 21 for this. And within the details on the notes, we'll actually say that it's Bosh Director. So we can see that it's deployment, Bosh, and its job is Bosh Director. So great, that's there. Now we want to import a product. So this product we want to import is Pivotal. There is container service. So 1.3 was only just released, so I'm going to use that. We hit OK, and it will upload that. So we just got to wait for it to upload. Alright, so it's been uploaded. Now we just add it in over here. Now we can go, right, it's like this. So we need, the first set off is obviously we need to assign AZs. So I've only got the two, oh sorry, the one. I've got the two places here, so where the singleton jobs and where the balance other jobs in. I want management for my management network, services for my services network. We save that, cool. PKS API. So this is what you'll be connecting to authenticate running PKS commands, essentially. So what we can do here is we can put a wildcard cert in here. So we want like actually, sorry, we'll do API dot PKS demo dot virtualize me.com.au. Now I want to generate a certificate here, so I put a wildcard and star.pks demo dot virtualize me.com.au. We'll generate that one, make sure it looks okay. Yep, cool. Okay, so I want to take both of these just to be sure, because I like to do that. So I'll just copy them to Notepad++ here. Have them for later. And workers in flight 1, so we can change this how many we want running parallel. I'll just leave it for 1 for now. We'll save that. Now these are the plans. So I'm only going to have one plan, but they're essentially just, you know, what are your different options, like maybe you got a small, medium, large type plan. These can come in handy when you assign plans to business groups and Virtualize Automation, for instance. So I'm just going to leave this as small. One. What I am going to do though is change these to smalls, just for the sake of it. Now they require at least 16 gig of disk, so you have to make sure that you do this for PKS with nsx-t. So we go small there, automatic, that's fine. I want to use that availability zone for my master etcd, and then we go this one. I'll choose small again for this one, but with 16 gig disk. Worker availability zone, so I'll choose that because I only got one. Anything optional, obviously we can enable privileged container use, which I'm not going to do, but we save that one. Cool, done. Now we have to set these. I'm just going to go inactive. So same thing, you can create a different plan, small, medium, large, whatever you might like within here, but you can only have 3. Cloud providers, so I'm vSphere. vSphere credentials, so we'll do service password vCenter host vCenter data center name, so again it's Virtualize Me DC. I believe it is case sensitive too, so sure, data store name is the ops test, and that's why I'm just copy and pasting just so I get it right the first time. And store VM folder, so that's the this one. Done. Save. Great. Now again, logging. We can enable syslog, we can visualize log insight. I'm not going to do any of that, but they're literally just checkboxes. Networking. So these are the pod ranges, so I don't generally touch these. These are what it uses in the backend communications within the Kubernetes services, but we'll go nsx-t for this instance. We go nsx-t manager, so 0 to 21. Now this is the super user principal identity certificate. So this is what we created in the first video. So if I go back now, and we want these ones. So let's cat out that. So that's my certificate for that one, and we'll cut out the key as well. Awesome. This is the manager cert that we need, so that was this one. Now you can disable verification here and you don't put anything in there. If you do put something in here, it's going to validate it. Now I'm not going to use NAT mode, but again, this is an architectural decision for yourselves. Now the pod IDs, the block IDs. So these are all what we created in the first video. So let's log back into NSX Manager here. Let's go to our networking IPAM. And here's our block. So first off, we need our pod block. So there's our pod one there. And here's the ID here. So you can just copy it from there. Go back there. That's it. Now I need our nodes. That's this one. So ideally you would have this all copied in before, but obviously I want to show where it comes from. Our T0 router. Go back to routers. We find our there it is. T0 router. Floating IP pool, so that's our load balancer pool. Again, it's in this weird spot. IP pools. I don't know what the difference between a pool and an IPAM is, but anyway, we'll do this one over here. Bang. Node DNS. So again, I'll put them to my local DNS and my cluster names. So these are the list of vSphere clusters that Kubernetes cluster will be deployed to. So again, comma delimited, these will match your AZs, or the ones you put in AZ, but I've only got one cluster here. So let's go back, and I just want cloud native cluster. Alright, so I don't have a proxy to get to vSphere, and I'll allow outbound internet connections. Again, if you don't allow this, you'll require NAT instance. So we'll go save that, and hopefully, cool, it all validated, which is great. UAA, now I'm using internal, you can use LDAP. I'll leave that. Monitoring, I can have wavefront integration, I'm not going to do that here. Usage data, look, I'm not going to be for this demo. Errands, so these are the errands that you want. So obviously by default, NSX validation is off, which is fine. Run smoke tests is off as well. Now this is on, so this means we'll upgrade Kubernetes when we upgrade the tile is applied. We want, if we had wavefront integration means that we'll create the predefined, and again delete. So on delete, what do we want to do? We want to delete clusters, we want to delete wavefront alerts. So we'll just leave that as it is, and the resource config is what it's going to use to be create. So cool, everything looks good. So we go back to install, it's saying it's missing stem cell. We should be able to have a look at that. So it needs the 175, yep, okay, so I've actually downloaded that stem cell because it's a new one that was just released with 1.3, just in case it was needed. So there it is there, the 170, so I'll upload that. Yep. Okay, great. So that's there. Let's go back now. Sweet. Let's review this. We can see the errands that it's going to run, so we can actually select them now if we wanted to. I just want to upgrade all clusters, which I have none at the moment, but we go apply. And that'll go through again and build out redo Bosh. Not actually downloading and redoing most of it, it'll go a lot quicker, and then it'll start deploying all the stuff for PKS. So now we just need to wait for that to finish. Okay, so that's PKS has now finished installing. So if we go back, dashboard, we can see both are up and running, and yeah, so that's been successfully installed. Now, to make sure this video doesn't run too long, I'll do a part 3, and that's going to take into creating a user account, logging into it, and creating our first Kubernetes cluster. Alright, so hope you enjoyed, and all the best. See you, bye.